Hello my friends and potential enemies, depending on why you clicked on this video. What's up? It's a little later in the day. Sorry if the whiting's a little weird. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry I opened my mouth. Today we're doing queer-phobic Facebook memes that I found. Probably gonna title the video homophobic Facebook memes because queer-phobic, it just doesn't flow. There's something off about it. It's not quite, doesn't got the oomph. Skipper. Speaking of gays, gay cat. There are people who would get mad at me for calling my cat gay, but like, look at him. You're gonna tell me that's a straight man? All right, let's get into it. Oh, I accidentally pulled up the widget that my girlfriend and I used. Say hi, everyone. Shut up. I said we say hi. So, sorry, I dragged y'all into it. I pulled all of these off of the terrible Facebook memes Reddit, because as you can imagine, a lot of Facebook memes, they're homophobic. Wow, who would have thought? It's 2050 and you see your memes in textbooks as examples of racism, misogyny, homophobia, and anti-Semitism. And look, the person smiling and pointing, being like, haha, it's really amazing that your impact to society was being a horrendous person to the point where history books have to point out how bad you were. It's crazy to me how people will take things like that and they'll be like, I want that. I want to be this horrible, horrendous person because to me, that's funny. Like, huh? You have no need to do any good with your life, just harm. I suppose people like that have to exist. Like, personalities are just so different that every archetype has to exist. Of course, there's people who thrive off of that. That's why we have internet trolls who say the most horrendous, disgusting things possible, all because they want a reaction. That's why we have rage bait content, all because people want a reaction. That's why we have incels who go onto forums just to talk shit about women because they hate and they just want reactions. To some people, that's what they thrive off of. And I don't get it. I think it's disgusting that you want to see yourself as one of the most despicable people in all of history written down. Like, you want your kids or the future generation of kids to go to school and learn that you're the kind of person that they should fear. This will make some people really mad. We should dedicate a month to veterans before we have a Pride Month. We already do, okay? I feel like I have to bring this up all the time because it's the same argument regurgitated, but these people just continue to be uneducated because they truly just want to believe that gay people bad. And so they take veterans as a way to kind of do that, which makes no sense because there's multiple months dedicated to veterans, veterans' families, and many days throughout the year too. So if you really compile all of it, I'll just put it on the screen so you can really see the compilation. I think it's always nice to point this out though, because it really does shut down the argument immediately. And to me, it shows that these people don't care about veterans. They don't care about supporting veterans. Otherwise, they would have known this. Like if they actually cared, they would have had this information. On top of that, a lot of veterans are gay. Just because you're a veteran does not mean that you're not LGBTQ+. There are so many queer people who do join the military. In fact, Republicans are trying to bar trans people from joining the military, which is wild to me because people are like, go veterans, we love veterans. But the second that person is trans, it's suddenly a problem to want that as their goal. For some reason, yay veterans, unless you are not what I picture a veteran to be, because actually it has nothing to do with respect for what you do. It has nothing to do with respect for the country. It all has to do with my idea of a perfect America, which doesn't include you. Like, that's truly what it means. If you really cared about veterans, instead of reposting weird Facebook memes with, is that Kid Rock? Oh my God, no. Bud Light. You would actually do something to help the homeless veteran population, to actually celebrate the days and months that go into veterans, but you don't actually care. You just dislike queer people and are using anything as an excuse to do it. I'm fat, but I identify as skinny. I'm a trans slender. There's so many things that we could break down and talk about in this right now, right? We could talk about how sex and gender aren't the same things. We know that through biology, sociology, and psychology. All sciences show us that those are separate things. The literal definitions are separate. Those are completely separate things. Sex and gender, not the same thing. You can argue against a wall if you want with, no, those are the same. Pick up a biology textbook. I have. Here's evidence that it's different. Here's sociology that shows it's different. Here is psychology that shows it's different. You have 3 sciences telling you that you are wrong, yet you still want to complain and say that they are the same, which they are, once again, what? Say it with me, not. Also, the joke itself just isn't funny. But I want to show you something that is funny that somebody left in the comments of this, which is I'm trans slender and it's Slenderman. See, this 10 out of 10, this gold. This is what you could have done and everybody would have giggled. Instead you went with a transgender joke that also was a joke about weight, and I don't know, just not even funny. The picture of the dog's cute, but this, I'm gonna laugh at this for hours. This is fantastic. This, good job, well done. This is like a political drawing and it's showing a man assaulting a woman and him then getting beat up for it, which it then cuts to what I assume is supposed to be a transgender woman beating up a woman in boxing and everybody's celebrating. Now there's a lot of things to say about this. First of all, for a trans woman to join these sports on this level, they have to have some kind of testosterone suppressant or estrogen that is suppressing the testosterone in some way. And it has to hit a certain drop before they are allowed to join the sport, meaning that their testosterone levels are going to be the equivalent of a cis woman.
Trans women do happen to have a biological advantage against biological women.
We're off to a great start with the transphobic language, but let's talk about trans women and their biological advantage in sport. Hit me with it.
Male bone density, male wingspan, male hand size, feet size, lung capacity.
So she's just making up terms here. There's a different typical size range for men's hands or feet or lungs, sure, but there's no such thing as a male hand size. My daughter's feet are the same size as mine. She does not have male feet. This is just purposely inflammatory and misleading language.
You're taking hormones and it does start to change your body.
It reduces bone density, a concern that you raised before, muscle mass, performance. Leah Thomas is significantly slower after transitioning, but acknowledging those truths would harm your narrative, yes.
And this is really concerning for me.
Because all of the trans women who are making the Olympics, winning world championships, and breaking world records, right? Quick, name all of them. Exactly.
I know somebody's gonna bring up the idea of like other genetic benefits, such as something like height. But what I want to make sure we're talking about here is if you're upset about genetic benefits or if you're upset about trans people, right? And I'm going to ask some questions that are going to kind of help you figure that out. Because if your issue is genetic advantage, then all of these things that I'm about to list should also really bother you. Michael Phelps has the perfect build to have a genetic advantage over all the people he swims against. His wingspan is enormous, which helps with his swimming. His torso size and the way his body is built is perfect for swimming. His lung capacity is more than an average person. These are all things that he didn't train on. These are things that he was born on. That's not to say he didn't train in his sport. Obviously he has for a very long time and he's very good at it. But he does have so many genetic benefits over everybody he ever goes against. What's the average height in the US for a woman? I think it's like 5'5". Therefore, anybody that's over that average is technically having a genetic benefit in their sport. There are women basketball players that are well over 6 feet. I'm talking like what? One of them's like 6'7". Isn't that a genetic benefit? Isn't that a problem then? Should we ban all people that are above a certain height from playing basketball because the average is well below, so it's not giving those people a proper chance to play basketball? A girl who's 5'1" can train her whole life to be good at basketball, her whole life. And she'll probably still get beat out by somebody who's 6'2". What about people who are in gymnastics, where you have a benefit from being shorter and smaller? And I want to make it clear, I'm not saying these people don't work hard in their sport, I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but I'm saying if you're going to talk about how it's genetic benefits for trans people, any genetic benefit should piss you off. You should be mad that Michael Phelps is able to compete with the way that he's built, because he is genetically more superior. Now, I'm not saying we should kick Michael Phelps out of swimming. I'm saying that you need to look at what you're actually mad about. Unless it truly is just about trans people, which then you should say with your fucking chest that's what it is and stop pretending it's something else. If it's because you don't like trans people, that's what it is. So stop pretending it's about genetic benefits or the fairness of women's sports, especially when women's sports have statistically been under-supported. I'm just gonna throw some statistics on the screen right now. These are some things that you could actually focus on when it comes to women's sports that actually disrupt everyday life of these women, of these sports. These are things that actually disrupt the system. These are things that could actually be worked upon rather than the maybe 100 trans athletes out of millions of people. Like, truly think about the population difference and think about how your issue isn't with the fairness of women's sports, because if it was, you'd be focused on these issues, not the very, very, very few, and I mean very few, trans athletes. Because trust me, it is so minuscule that it shouldn't matter to you as much as it does while these issues exist. Just some food for thought. If it's about trans people, just say that. Trans athletes are such a small margin of all athletics that it's just so weird and wild to me that the media has decided to grip onto it as if every woman who plays sports is at a disadvantage now because a few trans women have entered the league. Like, that doesn't even make sense. This is a real issue we gotta focus on, guys. This is a problem. It's not. It's because you see it in media, so you think that it's this massive, gigantic issue that's taking over women's sports, but it's truly not. You just are so hateful that you put that stuff over and over and over at the top of your media that you just want to like grip it and like look at it as this horrendous thing and be like, oh my God, everybody look at this. And it's not as big of a deal as you make it out to be. It's weird, the obsession that these people have. It's so weird. Sorry, I forgot to mention a massive part of that, which is also, one of these is unconsensual beating, and one of these is consensual. You are getting into a ring with who you know will be your opponent, and you are consenting to fight in a place where there are people watching, there are medics there, you are actually taken care of if need, whereas one is pure assault. That's a pretty big difference if you ask me. Beating a girl who's walking down the sidewalk because you can versus consensually getting into a ring for a sport you enjoy. Fuck. But yeah, big difference. Women are always right. How do lesbians settle an argument? Depends on who's on their period, and I will say that outright. When I'm on my period, I'm right, and my girlfriend gives me a lot of leeway. When I'm not, she's right, but that's also because she usually just is. I'm gonna be honest. Y'all females be turning lesbian like girls don't cheat too. Now look at you crying over fingers. God, you know this was written by a man with the y'all females. Whew, already a huge ick. You don't turn lesbian, it's not a choice. You are either attracted to women or you are not. Nobody is getting into a committed relationship where cheating can even occur and being hurt and in love and attracted to somebody they're like, that's gay. You've got to be attracted to women in some capacity to even get in this situation, you know, just turn. You know, if you're a straight guy and you're watching this and you have this mentality, I want you to turn gay right now. Go give your friend a blowy. Enjoy it, because that's part of being gay, is enjoying some of these acts, you know, unless you're asexual. And then get back to me after that. Girls do cheat. I have been cheated on by a girl. Well, that's facts, because guess what? It's not easier one way or the other. People are still shitty sometimes, unfortunately. There are shitty girls, there are shitty men, there are shitty relationships, there are great relationships, there are great girls. The relationship that I'm in right now, so happy. Love my girlfriend to the moon and back. My queen. Hi, Skippy. But yeah, unfortunately, people are shitty, regardless of sexuality. That's just the complexity of humans and human relationships, unfortunately. Crying over fingers. Do you think people are crying over your wiener? I mean, this is so weird to me that like men sometimes think like this, because I have straight friends that will tell me, sure, they like sex with them, but they're actually disgusting and they don't like looking at them. It's also funny because like, it's a whole stereotype, right? That straight women do not get off as much, which is actually sad. Or the fact that penetration alone, a low percent of women can actually orgasm from that specifically. So it's weird how much pride is put onto a wiener. I mean, I could buy one and I can get it to my partner's liking and what they want for size and everything like that, which is awesome. Weird to be like crying over fingers as if people aren't whole human beings and that's why they're upset. It has nothing to do with that. Sorry. Just like when a girl's crying over a boy cheating on them, it's probably because their heart's broken and now they have trust issues forever. Has nothing to do with your wee-wee. I'm so sorry, sir, that you had to find out this way. It's simple. Male, female. Not both, not a third option. Any questions? Last, an electrician. This is such a stupid like thing because of course like all the other options that the person below listed. But also, What? Like, why do people always use these weird ideas? Who cares what electronics do? It's like you'll hear the key and hole argument from like alpha men on their podcasts where they're like, one key unlocks one door, whereas women should only be with one man, yet men can be promiscuous. It's a stupid argument. I've talked about it before in other videos from men speaking on it. It's so weird to me how these memes will always like conflate a person to an object and then it doesn't even make sense. It's like the electronics, it doesn't matter, has nothing to do with anything. Same with the key in the door, has nothing to do with anything. It's not even a great way to explain your thoughts to us. It's just like a bad argument with a bad example. Just kind of stupid. Like, you're just homophobic. This has no standing. This has no meaning. But I love that it's also still just wrong. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline 2004, we have a feminine vampire versus Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 2024 with a masked vampire. They're both women. Which way? Western man, as in like, oh my god, I can't believe we're going this way with the masculinity of women and blah, blah, blah. Why do you care? First of all, I'm pretty sure when it comes to bloodlines, this has to do with specific groups of vampires and their aesthetics. But it's also just interesting to me that you're mad because you are now unattracted to your fake little vampire girlfriend and it's making you be like, which way, Western man? Why are we doing this? That right there on the right, a lot of sapphics watching this right now are gonna eat that up. So I'm sorry if it's not your cup of tea, but trust me, it's gonna be a whole bunch of people's cup of tea, regardless of whether you're happy about it or not. Overall though, just weird that you care that deeply about your vampire to look at while you play a video game. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like hot characters, but I don't have to have a hot character to play a game. Weird energy. When I'm playing Skyrim, I'm not looking to the dragons to be sexy, gotta be honest. I'm not hoping that they have some great little dragon titties. I'm looking to play the game and be the best dragonborn I can. So, just so you know, if the Bible calls it a sin, your opinion really doesn't matter. What is with the minions on the cross? That's gotta be blasphemy. Also, it's always this photo that like these memes, these like the Bible ones use as these two kids kicking around in the dirt because they're good old American little kids, which is so funny, right? That the idolized version of an American little boy is one that looks like at 4 years old is ready to go work on a farm for the rest of his life and have a lack of enjoyment. Interesting. Not that you can't have an enjoyment on a farm, but like that's what they're idolizing for their 4-year-olds. Silly. Cute photo overall though. Fun fact, not everybody believes in the Bible. Not everybody believes in every translation of the Bible, because the Bible has been translated thousands and thousands of times. It's interesting when you look into it. In fact, a lot of the original translations for the Bible have to do with pedophilia being sin, not queer people. It's just homosexuality wasn't in the Bible until I believe the 60s, like the word homosexuality. So the translations change throughout time, and so of course people are gonna look and choose which one they want. But if the Bible calls it a sin, you know, let's look at some stupid little sins. I'll throw some up on screen so you can read them. I know that mixing fabrics is one. I know that shellfish is one. There's a bunch of silly little goofy things that are considered sins, depending on which version of the Bible you are gung-ho about. So, strange argument for people who like to cherry pick. But yeah, people aren't gonna change their life to fit your belief system. On top of that, you shouldn't try to change other people's lives to fit your belief system. That's what's so weird to me about some political votes and actions, is that people are so upset over queer people for some reason, of queer people living their own life that is detached from yours, that you want to legally disallow queer people to exist how they see fit. A really interesting thing to me, because it's saying your opinion really doesn't matter, but you're going to go out of your way to make it so people can't have an opinion and can't live how they want because your Bible says that you should live a certain way. Food for thought. I think I'm done. I think I'd like to be done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you want to see more of my stuff, I post more short form content on like Instagram, on TikTok. I've been kind of doing that a little bit more since I work full time. Other than that though, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you liked the video, like it. If you really liked it, consider subscribing. I'm trying to put more content out a little more regularly than I have been. So thanks. Bye guys.